Today, we engineer perfumes as volatile, alcohol-based liquids designed for a single purpose: to evaporate rapidly upon contact with the skin, leaving behind a transient, invisible trail of scent. Step into the ancient Nile Valley, and that modern formula becomes functionally useless. Under the blistering sun, amidst arid winds and abrasive desert sands, a weightless alcohol spray would vanish in seconds. In this harsh landscape, the air was not scented for fleeting aesthetic pleasure. It was deliberately architected for physical survival and to signal absolute power. For the ancient Egyptians, the boundary between a fragrant cosmetic, a pharmacological cure, and a religious sacrament simply did not exist. The legendary aromatics worn by pharaohs and queens were highly complex, scientifically active medical shields engineered to maintain physical health and project divine authority. The defining characteristic of ancient Egyptian chemistry was a technological limitation. They did not possess the distillation techniques required to extract weightless essential oils. Operating as the world's first industrial cosmetic chemists, they relied entirely on locally pressed plant oils and rendered animal fats to absorb and trap volatile fragrance molecules. Inside temple laboratories, artisans crushed seeds from native plants like castor and morinda, placing them in large linen sacks and twisting them tightly with wooden poles to squeeze out the raw lipids. Chemical stability was essential for these mixtures to survive the intense heat. Moringa oil was highly prized because it fiercely resisted oxidation and rancidity over long periods, making it an ideal carrier for rare, expensive ingredients. This diagram shows how the thick moringa oil base formed a heavy barrier across the epidermis. This lipid layer trapped the body's natural moisture, allowing the active chemical compounds to absorb slowly and continuously into the tissue over hours. The absence of modern distillation allowed these dense unguents to function as highly localized, slow-releasing preventative medicine. In the natural world, plants do not produce volatile resins merely to smell pleasant. These compounds act as evolutionary chemical weapons. When a tree's bark is damaged, it weeps resin over the wound to aggressively kill encroaching bacteria, prevent fungal rot, and seal the cut. The Egyptians imported frankincense and myrrh at staggering expense, specifically to harvest these biological defenses, turning them into the twin pillars of their medical practice. When ground and utilized together, the boswellic acids in frankincense and the sesquiterpenes in myrrh form a synergistic drug pair. This creates an anti-inflammatory and rapid wound-repairing effect, far stronger than either resin applied alone. They applied this same empirical logic to native flora like the blue lotus, extracting its intoxicating scent to utilize its active alkaloid, apomorphine, as a potent muscle relaxant and anxiety reducer. Suspending these specific botanicals in lipid oils was an act of concentrating a plant's natural immune system to armor the human body against infection. The documentary evidence survives in the Ebers Papyrus, an immense scroll containing over 800 prescriptions. It directs physicians to apply compounds of myrrh and pine resin directly onto severe lacerations and skin ulcers to halt aggressive bacterial growth. One of its most remarkable entries describes treating trachoma, a devastating bacterial eye infection spread by flies. By applying intense antimicrobial resins mixed with insect-repelling aromatics, Egyptian healers provided genuine, evidence-based relief from irreversible blindness. Outside the clinical chamber, ordinary citizens adapted these principles for daily hygiene, utilizing locally produced castor oil scented with native herbs to protect their skin and hair in the extreme climate. Egyptologists debated if the bright cones atop the wigs of banquet guests were real objects or artistic symbols. Recent discoveries proved they were actual wax cones. As body heat melted them, they cascaded continuous antibacterial lipids over the wearer. Whether prescribed to treat a blinding infection or worn at a royal banquet, scent operated throughout ancient life as a highly functional protective armor. Mummification functioned as the final escalation of this chemical science. To shield the dead from the ravages of biological decay, practitioners utilized the exact same antimicrobial resins and lipid carriers found in clinical medicine. Recent analysis of the canopic jars of Lady Senetne, an elite 18th dynasty wet nurse, revealed the most complex mummification mixtures ever discovered. This map traces her scent of eternity bomb, revealing coniferous larch resin from the Levant and dammer resin imported from Southeast Asia. Securing these specific resins drove pharaohs to establish expansive global maritime trade networks. The chemistry worked. The potent diterpenoids in these imported resins, combined with beeswax, completely halted microbial action, effectively suspending human organs for over 3 millennia. The presence of vanillic acid and coumarin within these resins produced a heavy, sweet pine and vanilla aroma, a chemical signature resulting from a barrier designed to maintain biological suspension for millennia. 21st century molecular archaeology, utilizing highly sensitive mass spectrometry, has entirely vindicated the ancient priests of the Nile. In 2025 and 2026, researchers at Yale University analyzed a 3,000-year-old calcite vessel dedicated to the Persian king Xerxes I. Chemical washes of the dark residue trapped inside the jar yielded an unambiguous molecular signature, the complete suite of alkaloids proving the presence of opium. Since these vessels match those in royal tombs like Tutankhamun's, these alkaloids suggest a specific cultural standard for opiate storage. Suspending these narcotics in aromatic fats facilitated their delivery as topical bombs or ingestible cures. Centuries later, Islamic alchemists inherited this botanical knowledge and invented the alembic still, separating volatile essential oils from their heavy lipid carriers. That single technological leap birthed the modern fragrance industry. But the foundation remains unchanged. We are just beginning to understand how the Egyptians weaponized plant biology to bridge the physical world with the divine.